We are live. It is 12:01 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday, September the 23rd, 2020. Welcome to NasCanucks Live, featuring myself, Ben, and my cousin Doug. How's it going?
Not bad. Little early day. I know I'm making you get up early as a musician. You're up before 2 o'clock, so yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Some of us with regular jobs do have to work as well.
I am chock full of coffee this morning, and hopefully I can make it through this show without having to take a trip to the room, because I've been going every 20 minutes. All right. Yeah, so last weekend, Bristol, baby. Well, I shouldn't even say weekend, because it started, Thursday?
Yeah, Bristol, yeah. Well, the night race always starts the Thursday, but, I got to say,
previous years it would start on Wednesday.
Yeah, that's right. You used to start Wednesday, have a break Thursday for some unknown reason.
Yeah, because they did.
And then we'll go Friday, Saturday.
Trucks and modifieds would run Wednesday night. Yeah. And it was always a crap show because one or the other would delay the second race. Didn't matter who ran first. I think they learned their lesson on that. That's why we had ARCA after the trucks.
Yeah.
So, so we'll start out with the truck series. One of the hot drivers in the series, Zane Smith, he was doing well early, but then had some issues, and he kind of faded out. But, some good tight racing. Stuart Friesen had an off week, which he was due, because let's be honest, new team, and the guy can't finish top 10 every week with a brand new team.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't think he didn't finish in the playoffs anyway, did he?
No, he was like 100 points out because the early year, stuff just put behind the 8 ball. But it looked like, they didn't do a full lane of the road tar or whatever the hell they put down there. They just did the half lane kind of thing.
No, they put nothing down. That was still left over from the spring.
Oh, really?
I was wondering if you would notice that or not, or if they were going to talk about it in the Xfinity and the Cup race, but they didn't.
Okay.
They talked about it on Sirius XM that there was nothing put down. So that was all stuff that was left there from the spring. So
awesome.
So that being said, does it need to be put down all the time?
Or do we need to put a full lane's worth? Because really, that was half a lane of traction compound. So you get your lefts into it for that extra grip. I like it because it didn't make it the dominant lane. Like, there was choices there.
Yeah.
It looked like 80% of the time you want to run the bottom, which, everybody wants the bump and run. Well, not everybody. I don't personally care for the bump and run, but, you didn't have to do it, but a lot of guys were, especially, because finally next week we'll actually have all 3 series in the chase, but it was the first race of the chase for the truck series. And so you didn't get that super aggression, like I gotta win, but it was some good tight racing, mostly around the bottom, but you could run the top if needed. Which is nice too, because honestly, across the board, guys who were laps down were getting out of the way, old school way. Like, because there was a big speed differential between the cars, part of that being lack of practice, but it allowed you to get out of the way. And guess what? You're not going to get freight trained by the other guys you are racing because you were nice to get out of the way of the leaders. So I like that. And who was our winner of that race? Because let's be honest, folks, the stages were boring for all those series. So.
Yeah, the guy that we went and talked about kind of extensively here last week, Sam Muir.
Yeah.
We'll be driving for halfway through the season next year. We'll be going up to Junior Motorsports, then driving the 9 car.
Okay. Well, the 9 car does need a new driver in the Xfinity series, as far as I'm concerned, because the current driver could.
Where's he going to go, though?
Who cares? Unemployment line.
Or is he he could be just going half a season in another car, then going full time in the 9 car in 2022. Could be. But
yeah, it was interesting. I had forgotten that we had talked about Myers, and when he had his victory lane speech, he had said, "This is my 3rd win at this track," and I thought most guys don't do that. Once you get up into the national series, you kind of put aside your late model wins and stuff, But one, he's 17, so guess what? Count every win.
Yep.
And I thought, bit of a chip on, ego, whatever you want to call it. It didn't completely rub me the wrong way, but I went, kind of a Kyle Buschism. There was that little bit of an ego. But then going to the ARCA race, he kind of picked up where he left off.
As I've always said, second verse, same as the first. He kind of took over in what confusing kind of points race for the ARCA race, as you had two races at once, basically.
Right. Yeah, which I've been floating that idea for a while now, combining series to have increased car counts out there. And we had the National ARCA series and the ARCA East series running at the same time, which could get a little confusing when the 4 is battling the 4 on the track and stuff like. And you're not familiar with the paint schemes and stuff, but young Gibbs was running because he's the track's small enough. He was out there and he was doing well at points. Who I was really happy to watch is, I want to say his first name is Max McLaughlin, son of Magic Shoe Mike.
I think so.
Which, am I not mistaken, Mike passed away?
I'm not sure.
For some reason, I'm thinking in the back of my head he passed away, but I was always a huge fan of Mike McLaughlin because that guy built a lot of chassis. In fact, he used to supply Gibbs with chassis for then the Busch series, rather than them building their own. They've just outsourced it to Mike because Mike was one of the premier. He was on a racer level. Like you hear chassis builders more in dirt, like Rocket chassis, stuff like that, or like a dirt modified, a Becknell chassis. Well, a McLaughlin chassis was used extensively in ARCA, Busch, late model series all across the nation. And as a result, you may remember, especially during speed weeks, Gibbs would run an extra Busch car for Mike. And Mike was their super sub on off weekends if they didn't have a driver. Unfortunately, I kind of disliked Gibbs for a while because they took his ride away from him one speed weeks. I remember it was like a kid came out of nowhere and they gave hit to him. And he was kind of doing a woe is me interview. Like, yeah, I don't have a ride all of a sudden a week before the race. So, a mini screw you to Gibbs on that one. But it was many years ago, and I'm sure they learned their lesson. But yeah, it was nice to see his son out there. You know what? Possibly my favorite race of the weekend was the ARCA race because those guys were loose. All those cars were, and it's nice to see not everybody that's gone through 10 years of driving school, like the perfect drivers. We always see these kids, and they're like, "How? Wow, they're so good because they drive like a 30-year-old." That reminded me of an old Busch series race.
Yeah.
Lots of cars off the pace, 2 or 3 dominant cars because you would have your 2 or 3 cup drivers back in the day running. Kind of like an 80s Busch race. Lots of spins, lots of action. Guys pushing it on the edge.
Yeah, and then Sam Mayer coming up with the doing the double on that night.
Yep, and he earned both those wins.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Went there and drove away.
One thing we didn't mention last week when talking about him is that, like McLaughlin, he is the son of a former driver. His dad being Ken Mayer that drove in the IndyCar series.
Right. So. Right, and it's weird because sometimes that'll be brought up and sometimes it won't. And we have a lot of next-gen drivers coming up right now, even to the point where we have children of pit reporters, out there running, which is really cool. So, and people don't think a pit report. Well, your kid, especially if you're bringing him to the races and stuff, they're going to grow up in that same environment.
Exactly.
Which is great. Yeah. So that brings us into the Friday, the Xfinity race, which I thought it was going to be third verse, same as the first, because Allgaier goes out and starts winning stages.
Oh, yeah. Fire.
Yeah. And I thought, here we go again type thing. And speaking of which, I'm watching that race and I'm thinking to myself, not only does he run for junior, but so is Justin Allgaier the new Elliott Sadler of the series?
I'm going to say, yeah.
He's going to make his mark, stay there.
Yep.
Now all he has to do is run for Gibbs and Roush and every other top team in the series, like Elliott did.
Exactly, yeah. Although Roush doesn't have a team anymore, so
no, I don't think Roush is going to have a cup team much longer. So,
well, we'll see.
Yeah,
but no, then so Allgaier took. He was the dominant car for 2 stages.
Mm-hmm.
Then it became. I almost thought it was going to be the 22 show.
Same here. Fortunately, he shows he has no arm muscles.
Yeah, yeah. The Bristol is a little tough to drive without power steering.
Yeah. It was interesting because they mentioned that, and Junior was really good about that, explaining how hard it is with the way the front end geometry is set up. He gave him some credit on that. And it was, I don't know if you caught, I swear the line of the race was during the Xfinity race. And it was weird because right at the point I'm watching, I was thinking, do the broadcast teams actually go to the track anymore? Because they could very well be in a studio back at wherever.
No, they're all at Charlotte.
Well, yeah. And the interesting thing, Junior was at Bristol earlier in the week doing ride-alongs. He had commented. And he says, yeah, everyone, they're freaking out. It's scary. And it's like, well, these guys out on the track, the Xfinity cars are turning 16-second laps. What were you running with the ride-alongs?
Yeah.
I was doing 16s too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's I've got something to say about Junior, but I'll say it later on because we've got another spot coming up later on. We're going to talk about some stuff, but yeah, it was just nice to see Briscoe get that because, if I'm not mistaken,
Chase Briscoe won the race. Continued to add to his resume.
That was the cutoff race, if I'm not mistaken. Was
yes,
it not?
Yeah, that was the last race before they start their chase.
And thankfully that with all their points, that puts him on top. He's on top of Cindric in the points now, as they reset. So I really like that. So,
no. Chase, does he have a racing family pedigree per se, or is he just out there hustling it?
I think. No, I'm not sure if there is some sort of connection with Ryan Briscoe. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I thought it was. But
I think Ryan Briscoe, isn't he like Australian though?
Could be. I'm going by name alone.
Oh, okay.
But he's an Indiana kid, right? So he's got that.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Like, for you might have like your Austin Cindric, who grew up in racing. His dad's got a prominent position. Okay. Well, then you also have the guy whose dad owns a trucking company or something like whomever, right? So you come like the son of corporate, like,
yeah.
How many drivers are out there? You look at the main sponsor, and it's their dad's company, or I'm trying. John West Townley, for instance, he had Zaxby's forever because his dad owned like 10 Zaxby locations. So it made sense.
Guy that ran the back of the pack for a long time in the Cup Series.
Oh, Brennan Gaughan with his dad's casino on it.
I was thinking the other guy with his dad's company on the back of it as well too.
Oh yeah, recently retired, possibly ran for the Wood Brothers recently.
Yeah, that'd be it.
Yeah, okay. You mean with Daddy's got billions, not millions, but billions. Yeah. So we had Chase Briscoe win, so that's set for he won the regular season championship, I believe, and putting together that resume. He's making Clint Boyer stay on his toes because I figured Clint's the odd man out right now at Stewart Haas. Yeah, if they're going to choose somebody.
Yeah, I'm not sure Almirola's on solid standing there either.
Right, but he's a few years younger than Clint.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That's the only factor there. So
Clint is setting himself up for a stint in the booth as well too.
Could you imagine him and Dale Jr. in the booth together?
Oh, yeah. I'm not sure everyone else will be able to talk.
Don't need a play-by-play guy. You just got two of them. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah. Hopping back to Thursday, though, talking about the booth, another great job by Kurt Busch in the booth there.
Yep. Right? I agree. Because you forget, the man, he ran all the series. I don't know how much time he spent in Xfinity. I don't really remember that.
I'm not sure either.
Because he was in Cup awfully young. So, who knows? He may even went straight from trucks to Cup, but I doubt it. and maybe do a part-time Busch as well, because Roush was famous for that, having his drivers also run part-time in the lower series.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that brings it into the Saturday race. I thought I predicted a winner off the bat. I picked Brad Keselowski. Amy made fun of me for picking Brad Keselowski, but then he was going out there and he was pretty damn dominant at the start of the race.
Yeah, he was, and I was trying to go like, I don't know about this, but yeah, it's because there was some guys who I thought were going to do better were struggling out there.
Mm-hmm.
Truex, I really thought Truex was going to do a lot better.
Yeah,
but
And he and Denny Hamlin got together right after Truex had that green flag pit stop. Truex came out of the corner, had to check up, and Denny ran all over him. And it was funny. You listen to the radio. Martin's relaying, "Sorry, let him know. Sorry, I didn't mean to brake check him." And Denny was going, "Man, that was a dumb move I did." It was like no blame, because immediately when it comes to teammates, they're both sorry.
Yeah. But
Ryan Blaney, he figured he had to win. He was driving like he was trying to win, but he just didn't have the car.
And he told everyone that before, that if you're going to be in front of me, look out, because I'm going to take you out. But
yep, exactly.
But there was no change in that bottom four.
No. Clint had a great race, running top 5 the second half of the race. He was sitting there around 13th or so for quite a while. And I was like, okay, well, 13th will get you through. That was going to keep him in 12th, and he ended up bumping up a bit in the points there. Also, I did want to mention from the Friday race, a nice scene of karma for a guy we're going to be talking about later, who's looks like he's going to be moving up, and I've been plugging for a while, Ross Chastain. He was driving like Tim Cindric or Austin Cindric, or both of them. Like he had to touch everybody.
Yeah.
And sure enough, a few drivers went, screw that, because they used him up at the end just as much. Like he would touch them, and they're like, I'm going to smack you back.
Yeah.
Because he had no reason to be driving like that. It wasn't like he needed to drive hard to get into the chase. He was just looking for that first win of the year, because I think he's kind of in that Kyle Busch situation. I want to win.
Yeah.
And fortunately, he didn't win, because I didn't like, that super aggressive style. But
yeah. So speaking of super aggressive, we get to the final 50, which I thought best 50 laps of the race.
Yep.
That battle between Kyle and Kevin.
And that was a great 2 veteran drivers running hard. Now, the question is, in that last, was it going into 1 and 2 on the last lap or 2 laps to go, Kyle made that run and drifted up.
Yeah.
Which kind of cost him the race. Now, the question, do you think he was going for Kevin's rear bumper and missed? Or was he just trying to dive in hard to go around the outside? Because it almost seemed like he was trying to miss him. But with that dejection in the post-race interview, because I actually watched Kyle's interview. I didn't even bother watching Harvick's. But Kyle, I wanted to see what he had to say about it. And kudos, Kyle, for not mentioning a single damn sponsor during the interview.
Yeah.
It was an actual interview.
Yeah.
It wasn't a press conference.
If I can say half and half, I will say half and half. That the thought probably crossed the mind. It didn't happen. And I was like, oh, well.
When the guys in the booth were already justifying Kyle, and they're like, well, didn't Harvick take him out a couple of times? Like Junior was trying to think. They're like, I don't know. I think that was Denny and Harvick. Well, either way.
Yeah, but really, though, for those 2 guys racing that hard, it was pretty damn clean.
Very clean. Very clean. Right? They seemed more in line. I'm going to get you stranded behind a lap car, use him as a pick, like Harvick did to retake the lead. And actually, Kyle did to take the lead as well.
Yeah.
So, that's racing.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So,
old school, there was only 8 or 9 cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Bunch got caught back there. So, but Kevin getting the win. So he's really got the command of the next round. But, it's just like everyone was. Everyone, I think basically by the end, everyone knew they were going on because Byron was out of the race by the time DiBenedetto was so far back.
Well, he had some issues, and so he was down laps.
Custer wasn't there. So, because I think at the end there, Truex was told that he needed to finish at least by 33rd to advance easily.
Right.
But so that was the 4 races.
Yeah. Some, like I say, some good coverage. It's almost like, if we could get Mike Joy to join the NBC crew, because I like Mike Joy. Not that Rick Allen is still good, but he's not Mike Joy.
No.
I think Steve Letarte should just be used like they use Larry Mack with Fox. Just go to him every once in a while. Because usually whenever Steve Letarte recovers or talks about stories of his racing past, it usually involves a mistake.
Yeah.
So it's like,
although I did like him being down on the infield there on the on the Friday night.
But, well, at least you could hear him, and he did the thing showing the mic, like, we could hear Steve. Poor Katie, no idea what she was talking about every time they went there. Hey, we're going down to Katie, and then all you hear is the cars. And it was like, speak up, darling, speak up.
Yeah. So we're like 20 minutes in here, so we still got a lot to cover.
Yep.
So couple news that I think. Well, the one I had kind of assumed it right when it was first announced, way back when they took Larson out of the 42. I kind of knew right away that this is going to be Chastain's car,
right?
But because they wanted to put him in right away, but he was still running for that other series, so they put Kenseth in the car, and Kenseth. I don't think Kenseth was really into it. By looking the way he's running, I'm just getting that feeling because we never really talk with him. He's not really interested in the interview, so I think this was just
Yeah, I agree on that. And speaking of which, just on a weird tangent, wasn't Matt Kenseth's son from his first marriage running years ago? Like, apparently that never really panned out.
Yeah, no, yeah, Ross.
Yeah, that never
really.
Yeah,
he just kind of he was like there, and then just boop, down.
Yeah. Which we've seen with a few next-gen drivers. Bobby Hamilton Jr. comes to mind off the top of my head. But even he had way more of a career than, Ross.
Yeah.
But, so Chastain to the 42. It kind of makes sense. Wasn't it like Chastain's team in the Xfinity Series? Weren't they kind of working with Ganassi anyway? Like when Larson was running all those races in there?
Yeah. He's a Ganassi driver.
Okay.
So it is a Ganassi. Yeah, he was signed by Ganassi, loaned to Colleague Racing,
right,
for those races.
Right.
So he is a Ganassi driver because he was, if I'm not mistaken, was he supposed to be in Cup this year? But then that whole DC, I think he was a whole DC Solar federal investigation where they got raided, all went down.
Oh yeah.
Sponsorship dollars kind of was like, see ya.
Yeah, and that was a major sponsor for them.
Yeah, well, they were going to be on the car for the whole season. So that kind of put the kibosh on his Cup season there, because I think he was going up to Cup. I think Ganassi was going to do 3 teams.
Okay.
But they couldn't get that. They lost that sponsorship. So.
Right.
So yeah, so now we know Chastain's in the 42. I think now, in quick succession, the other dominoes are going to fall.
Yeah.
Because it was what then the next was that afternoon then or that night that we hear that the rumors have been out there for a little bit. I've been hearing a couple weeks that Denny and Michael Jordan are going to combine because they've already got a partnership with Denny, sponsored by the Air Jordan brand.
Yeah, they've been friends and business associates. I'm going to combine the two for, I want to say, the better part of 10 years now, I think.
Yeah.
Denny and Michael, they've known each other quite a while. And so, they're putting a team together. So, we have another ex-pro athlete entering the NASCAR ranks, following the steps of Dan Marino, Terry Bradshaw, Brad Doherty.
Although Jordan's got the money behind him, that he's got his own money that can.
Yeah, Dan Marino had some. Actually, I think Dan Marino partnered with Gibbs for Marino's team back in the day. I think he was getting equipment through Gibbs. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just for some reason in the back of my head.
Yeah. So and I was going to mention this last week. I totally forgot because their driver is going to be Bubba Wallace.
Right.
Car, which last week people were talking to Bubba, and I'd seen that he had said that he's going to be going into top equipment. So if he can't win in top equipment, he's just going to retire.
Sure.
Because he's now going to finally be in that top equipment in the Cup Series because, let's face it, he was in KBM stuff in the Truck Series.
Yep.
He won. Was in Gibbs stuff in the Xfinity Series. He was running top 10 consistently. Yep. I know everyone doesn't want, all they want to look at is his Cup stats, but look at who he's been driving for in the Cup. They've not really been.
Yeah, you're looking at basically a Roush satellite team, and if the Roush cars aren't doing so hot, guess what? The satellite teams aren't going to,
and I'm guessing
I don't see the Wood brothers outrun Penske every week.
No, and I actually heard that talked about that. Really, the last time that a smaller the outfit team outran the Cup team is well this shirt right here, the 78 with. But I'm going to say you've got the driver crew chief combination there. Would probably have they had better communication than any other team, I think.
Right. And we don't know officially, although they're claiming top equipment. So we're figuring Denny's probably going to run with some kind of affiliation with Gibbs to supply chassis and motors and such. So
because is there not already a thing in Cup where you cannot have another team that's not affiliated, own a team that's not affiliated with your own team and drive for your because you got a driver. Well, it's almost like Dale Sr. with
I was going to say, I think the last person to do it would have been Dale Sr.
Yeah.
Where they were completely independent.
But didn't they have some sort of alliance, though, with RCR?
No, they had their own chassis program, their own engine program.
So,
I'm sure there was some back and forth, like an alliance, sort of like Penske and Roush have the Ford alliance. Like, I'm sure there was something there. Maybe some employees going back and forth. But the weird thing is because DEI really grew into Cup from the garage at Dale's mom's place. Ralph's old garage. They started out of there, and it just slowly expanded when the kids wanted to start racing, and then that kind of progressed, and then they started the single Cup car. With Steve Park, and then it just slowly blossomed organically over the course of, let's say, 15 years. From 85 to 2000.
Yeah,
and then 2001 was when they expanded it to 3 teams in Cup.
Yeah, so that's I'm expecting that Denny will be. You're going to have a Gibbs alliance there somewhere. It's because Gibbs is. It was out there that Gibbs is looking for that satellite team.
Right. Well, it's just more resources to pull from, right? It's essentially a 5th team, or possibly, I'm going to start it now because the rumors are going to start next year. How long is Denny going to run for Gibbs before running for his own team? The same way we heard it with Dale Sr. So I'm going to say it now. Yes, there will be a second Hamlin Racing, whatever they're going to be called. He will run, but I think it'll be for a year or two at the end of the career to take the place for, say, somebody coming up, a Gibbs development driver or what have you. He may do that or he may not. It's hard, it's hard to say in that respect.
Yeah. But yeah, so I know there's still they've got a charter. I know we were all, I was kind of wondering myself, well, whose charter they got? I'm not sure if you've heard.
No, the 13?
I heard last night they bought the Germain Racing charter.
I was going to say the 13, yeah.
So now that Ty needs a ride. Right?
Yep.
So
I think his grandfather should start up a 3rd team for Ty.
Maybe this is that push that they need. Or they said, maybe he's done driving and he wants to get into the other side of racing,
Sure. The management side, like his dad did.
Yeah, exactly. Because you really haven't heard much from him, right?
No. Ty, it's kind of like I don't know what category. Like I was going to say, kind of categorize him along with Ricky Stenhouse, but Ricky we hear a lot more because he crashes.
Yeah.
As evidence, the first caution at the Bristol race.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's just kind of reminds me of Ricky Rudd in that way. Just kind of does his deal, and he's there. Or Bobby Labonte. We'll talk about him when we need to, but we don't need to.
Yeah. So there's the first two drivers to fall. Chastain and Bubba. Who's next? We don't know. There's still Kyle Larson out there. There's still, those couple teams. And so that's still, there's the 48. That's got that
somebody moving up to Roush next year too. They mentioned it during the Xfinity race.
I can't remember now.
Yeah. So I'm assuming he's a Roush development driver. Maybe they're outsourcing, but I can't remember. And I don't know whose ride he's taking because they've got what, the 6, 16, and 17 at this point? Or just the 6 and 16?
Just the 6 and 16, I believe.
Wow. Remember when they told him he had to move down from 5 to 4 cars?
Yeah. No, down to 2.
So Newman out?
Sorry?
Newman would be out then?
Could be. I'm not sure.
Well, I don't even know who drives the other car for Roush.
Busher. Because it was just a swap with JTD Jordy. They had Busher swapped with Stenhouse.
Ah, right.
Yeah. So there's still there's still the 48 out there, and I'm still saying, if you're watching, Kyle Larson will not be driving the 48. I'm going with that because and I said that to somebody online yesterday. I think it was. I was like, Larson will not be driving there because Rick Hendrick does not like his drivers driving outside the NASCAR series.
Yeah,
aka dirt.
Yeah.
Right. And someone said, well, Alex Bowman drove the Chili Bowl last year. A one-off race in the off-season.
Yeah.
That's not during the season. World of Outlaws runs during the season.
Yeah.
So there's only 2 teams for Kyle to go to. You've heard them both here, being Stuart Haas and Trackhouse.
Right. Or
right now, still got my money on Trackhouse.
I suppose technically if Roush was to form another team, Larson could go there because he allowed Stenhouse to run sprint cars.
True. You are correct on that.
Yep.
But yeah, so the drivers that are still out there then are Kyle Larson, Corey LaJoie still floating out there.
Yep.
Right? People are forgetting about him. And he's been pushing hard to try and get the 48 ride. Right?
I can't see that, but you never know.
Yeah.
At least he'd have a job in the shop too, because as far as I know, the last few years he's building shocks for Penske.
Mm-hmm.
I know he had that job for a number of years. Rather than working for his dad, he went and he learned how to build shocks, and that was his day job, building shocks.
Mm-hmm.
So he could thank the guys back at the shop, and he's thanking himself.
Yeah. So that's what we got for those there. I don't know. Was there any? I'm not sure if there's really any other news that came down so far this week.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
It's been a quiet week from what I can remember here.
Yeah, well, quiet or not, we got a new team and a couple of guys moving around, so that that's pretty good.
So,
I think you'll hear more in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, I'm thinking these 2 big dominoes have fallen. It's those other ones you're gonna start seeing it come pretty quick now.
Well, plus it depends. Rick Hendrick has to decide: am I going to keep the 48?
Yeah.
Am I going to fold it? I'm going to sell it. Yeah, he won't fold it; he'd sell it.
Yep.
If he's smart, which I'd like to think he is.
Yeah. So, with all that being said, a couple things here. As I said, we had a couple topics we want to talk about here. And we didn't really get a chance to talk about it off air. I kind of said what we might spin into, but watching another show, they were talking about some stuff, and it was door bumper clear with the 3 crew chiefs, or not crew chiefs, the 3 spotters, right? So they were talking about it, and they started talking about how Kyle Busch's comments that Joey Logano does not have any friends in the garage, right? Because of the way he did drive near the end of the race when he went up to block Kyle.
Right.
Right. And TJ Major's explanation for that was they were racing for points. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're about to go a lap down. Sure, you're trying to get there, but you were in no way of winning the race.
Yep.
The last race of that section of the playoffs, right? So, anything other than a win means nothing. And they even said that to TJ.
And when it happened, Harvick got by him. Okay. Kyle had a harder time. Guess what? There was no other cars around that Joey was running for position. So it ain't a points thing.
Oh, and the other thing was, if you go back and watch the race, Joey was running the bottom.
Yeah.
Until Kyle and them came to them, and Joey went up to the top of the track.
Yeah. Proof yet again that Joey Logano is a dick.
Well, and TJ says, well, Kyle could have went low. Well, Kyle was running the high line.
Yeah. Now, what happened to when we know for a fact the leader spotter is like running up and down that spotter stand saying, hey, we're running high, move your guys low when we're coming up on you. And guess what? Non-Penske drivers have no problem understanding that concept. Because guess what? The next time Logano needs one of these guys to move out of the way if and when he's leading a race, I hope they move over just long enough for him to get halfway by them, and then they punt him into the wall. Yeah, you know me, I don't like that kind of racing, but he deserves it.
So we've talked about that. So that leads then to the Joey Logano doesn't have any friends in the thing, and
I don't think he has any friends outside of the garage area either.
Well, yeah, and so then they start talking about that the friendships in NASCAR with the drivers, right? That they're only friends while they're in the series. Because TJ says, well, does anyone still call Elliott Sadler? I don't know. I don't have his number, so I can't call him. But I'm guessing he probably still does have friends within the racing industry. And if you talk about if you listen to any of the Dave Moody stuff when he has the legends on, they all still get together. I know Mike Skinner always talks about hanging out with Ricky Rudd and all these other guys. So,
well, they do, but they hang out away from racing. Like Sadler, when he was on Dale Jr.'s podcast, from what it sounds like, it's sort of like Junior wants to go hunting. Well, he'll call up Elliott to come along, or Ryan Newman, or something like that. Like they'll do mutual. Like we know Martin and Ryan Newman go fishing together.
Yeah, and Martin
I can't see that changing after they retire. Is if they're both still living in that part of the country.
Yeah, and and then same with hunting with Martin and Dale Jr. because they own land together.
Right.
And Martin did sleep at he did stay at Junior's house, so they've got that friendship. But I think they will stay friends outside. So I think TJ Major's comments there don't hold water.
A lot of his comments don't hold water.
Well, yeah, and I forget who Bubba Spotter is that's on that show.
All I know is TJ Majors. We've heard for years how great he is. When he was Jeff Gordon's spotter, he was Dale Jr.'s spotter, blah blah blah. Yeah. And I thought he was an all right guy till I started checking out some of those highlights that you had sent me, and I was like, this guy's a dick.
Yeah, and that's I wish I could Bubba's spotter, but on the show, like he said, after the race, he was packing up all of his stuff, and he said he had, and now I forget Kyle's spotter on his left, and TJ was on his right, and they were all packing up. And he says, I'm listening to both of them because both of them, they're never wrong.
Yeah.
Right. And he basically said that right in front of TJ. How like TJ, whenever something happens, it's never TJ's fault or any of his driver's fault.
Yeah.
Right. But it's just, TJ's explanation there just didn't hold water.
No, at all. I think he should be spotting for Joey Logano because they're a perfect pair.
Who, TJ?
Yeah.
He is.
Oh, fuck. That explains it. Jesus.
That's what I'm saying. That's why he was saying what Joey was doing, right? Oh. He was like, we're racing for points. It's the final stage.
Yeah.
Right? And it's the cutoff race. So we could have got an extra 4 points. And Brett Griffin was like,
I'm going to ask you a favor now.
4 points really means anything?
Yeah. I'm going to ask you a favor now. Next time we're in the infield hanging out, as we do see various people, if we ever see TJ Majors, don't point him out to me.
No. I was going to say...
otherwise I'll end up in the pokey.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, are we gonna give him the Chad Knaus comment of the day? But anyway,
Yeah, pretty much.
so then they were commenting about how the drivers are all interacting, whatever. And they also had Ryan McGee on from that's a journalist,
Right.
and talking about, and we've talked about this in the past because you really hear it on the broadcast about all, like, are the announcers too close to the drivers to the point where they will not criticize drivers on the air, especially the top drivers?
Well, I will say during the Xfinity race, when that 9 car started driving like a dick, Junior shut right up.
Well, yeah, I'm going to say that's I've seen Junior like that, right? Because those are his cars, and
yeah.
He has said that some of his drivers have maybe been in the wrong.
Yep.
Right.
But
so
usually he'll just go silent rather than defending the undefendable or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I've even seen Jeff Burton when talking about Harrison. Mm-hmm. Jeff went quiet, but then Jeff has also said when he's done something wrong too.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually, they touched on that on Friday night because Harrison was running up front there. And, you hear a little bit of the dad coaching going on there, but very subtle. And then he would say, like, yeah, we don't talk racing. We talk about anything but racing. If he had a question, I'll gladly answer it. But we both realized a long time ago, and I'm like, okay, so he probably became a bit of that hockey dad type thing.
Yep.
And went, well, no, that's not going to be an option. Let's keep this fun. Because we do know Jeff was very hands-on the early days of Harrison's career, because they still had the Inside NASCAR show on, and he'd come on once in a while, and they'd ask him, and it was very much like he is then where Kyle Busch is now with their kid, or Kevin Harvick with their kid.
And really, I love watching that stuff. I don't know if you've seen a lot of the stuff with Kyle and his son with Braxton, but he's really, you can really see the softer dad side of Kyle.
Yeah, which I'm thinking that's how their dad was. Like the Busch brothers' dad, because we don't hear a lot about it. We just hear about good times at the Las Vegas Bull Ring, but it's not like, we don't see the Busch's dad at every damn race the first 10 years of their career, like other drivers. I'm not going to mention David Reagan by name.
If you watch Kyle's videos with Braxton, the one thing you do notice is that the guys working on the kart all have KBM shirts on.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's like, is that just your extra overtime work from the shop? But anyway,
I just thought. Speaking of dads at the track, have we seen Joey Logano's dad at the track since Tony Stewart threatened to punch him out?
I haven't.
No, he scared him all the way back to Connecticut.
Yeah, but yeah. So, but then to get back on the track there with the announcers, because Ryan McGee would always say, like he said that. He always drove around in cars with Benny Parsons and Darrell Waltrip.
Mm-hmm.
And when they were off camera, they'd always be like, "This guy's doing this wrong. This guy's an idiot for this. This guy's an idiot for that. This shouldn't happen." Or Benny Parsons would say that the Pocono races are way too long. They need to shorten them up. They need to do everything. Do this. They're doing this wrong. They're doing that wrong.
Right.
And then that light comes on in the camera. And he's like, "Oh, the Pocono races are the best ever." They're critical off air, but once they go on air, they don't want to. They don't want to.
Yeah, they don't want to disturb the waters.
Yeah,
ruffle any feathers.
And we've talked about that, and I know a lot of other people have seen it as well too. The Fox broadcast, NBC to an extent is you're getting a lot of Hendrick Motorsports cheerleading.
Yep.
In that.
And part of that is, let's be honest, outside of the play-by-play guys, with the exception of Larry well, wait a minute. Let's go for the core crew. So Jeff Gordon drove for Hendrick. Darrell Waltrip drove for Hendrick. Then on the NBC side, you got Steve Letarte. You got Dale Jr. Jeff Burton did not. Kyle Petty didn't. It was weird. It's weird the last few weeks having Kyle Petty all of a sudden show up in the booth, like just a voiceover. I'm like, is that Kyle Petty talking? But he's good because he'll just throw out a few those Kyle Petty anecdotes that get tiring after the 10th one, sort of like Daryl. But for Kyle to just kind of come in during stage 2, talk 2 or 3 funny stories, make Dale Jr. laugh, and then he's gone again. I was like, perfect.
No, but there's like a lot. And really, even, Gordon still is second in command over at Hendrick Motorsports. Right? So,
and it's pretty obvious. Although I will say the second half of the season, I don't have to hear about the quality talents of the 24 and the 88 on a weekly basis. And I'm like, are you guys watching the same race? Because they're running 22nd.
Yeah. But I found that was a little kind of, with the whole talk with what the way Logano was doing, was then rotated into the drivers with friends. And then it got into that whole commentator side of, They hang out with these drivers, and it's, maybe it is that traveling circus thing where they're always with them all the time, that you're always with that same people.
Well, and I think it helps too when you have groups of guys come up together. Like we heard about, Dale Jr.'s, he had his posse, but you also had drivers like Jimmy Johnson, Martin Truex, Elliott Sadler hanging out in that group.
Yeah.
And now we have it with Bubba, Ryan Blaney, Corey LaJoie's in that crowd. There's a few other.
They say Chase is in that crowd, but I'm not sure how
Chase
he
isn't
can
in
fit
that
in
crowd.
with that crowd. He's not in that crowd.
He's the dick.
Oh, yeah.
You can tell because if Chase relaxed and was loose before a race, that's when you tell the guys that are there among friends. They're loose before the races. Now, where that translates, you can have some guys that look very serious and they're very focused prior to the race. But when you see two drivers kidding around with each other, sort of like Tony Stewart would go around and start goosing people during interviews and stuff.
Yeah.
That's what you need.
That's not happening anymore. Like I just said, Chase looks like he needs a diaper change.
Yeah.
What?
All the time.
Yeah. But that's not from past experience with him, though, at all.
No. Well, we only go by our observations, folks.
Yep.
Good, bad, or otherwise.
And 3 strikes and you're out. But so, geez, I didn't think we were going to go this long, but we went this long.
Yeah, we went this long. And we'll wrap it up soon because guess what? That coffee's hit bottom about 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, but we talked about it too, and I got a couple things to share. I've got my first one is my smallest diecast.
Yep.
My 187th Daytona 500 Truex car.
That big old wing on the back.
Yep. Blue light from the camera. And my other one is, I'm going to say, a somber find.
Right.
Garage sale that I'd found because
I think that was karma, dude. And I'm not talking about your wife.
Yeah. That was September 20th, 2018. We lost Greg Hodnett in a race, killed in while driving. And then that next morning, so that race was a Friday night. The next morning, the Saturday morning, driving around to my neighborhood, there was a garage sale that I got a couple other diecast cars at. It's a guy that had a collection. He passed away. His wife was kind of selling it off in pieces. So I was able to get like a World of Outlaws. I might have shown him one of the first ones. Steve Kinzer car. I got a couple other ones too, just some other names. But then, so I was like, I got to stop with this garage sale because there's got to be something there. And so these here were from, was it 85? No. I think it was.
No. They weren't making diecast in 85.
This one's back there. I did have the year on it before.
By the box, I was going to say 92 through 94.
Yeah, well, maybe. Yes, I guess early 90s.
All right, folks. If you're watching this on replay, when we hold it up, comment down below what year you think the car is.
Yeah, it was on here someplace. I'm looking at the box, but I got this Greg Hodnett World of Outlaws diecast.
Yeah, it's 1993.
Is it 93?
I think so.
Okay.
No, but it's a Racing Champions box, and I know those boxes. I've got a bunch of those boxes around here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's. I'm waiting to get the some of the other ones from this set. They're looking.
Did I ever give you the 164th ones?
Pardon?
Did I ever give you the 164th ones?
No.
Oh,
I only have a Craig Kinzer, Bass Pro Shop.
Okay. I'll dig them out because I know we had a 2 or 3. Like we have a bunch of doubles and even triples of sub, and we have like Steve Kinzer running the Valvoline colors, Sammy Swindell, a few other. Those are the two I remember off top.
Yeah, like the Valvoline that I have is like a yellow. So it's the black and silver one. I think. But yeah, so I'm looking here. I'm looking at the on this here. I've actually got the Dave Blaney car as well.
Nice.
I've got in this set. There's a Jeff Gordon. I've got a Jeff Swindell, but Sammy's in this set as well.
Right.
Schrader's got one. Danny Lazowski, I've seen. Ed Lintz Jr., which I've got one of. I got one of his upstairs. But it's just all the other guys that I liked because it was guys that I'd be able to see when I first started going down to Charlotte, getting into the sprint cars again.
Right.
Just those guys, like.
Well, yeah, because that was the thing I noticed seeing my first World of Outlaws race. How many guys were running for the last 25 years in that series? Because we had still that group of like 8 or 9 veteran drivers. Yeah. Still a year or two away from retirement. And even after retired, they'd still come back.
One of my favorite pictures that I've got down Charlotte was actually Lazowski and Steve Kinzer, both in a slide coming out of 4.
Nice.
In Charlotte, which is one of my favorite pictures. But yeah, there's like Andy Hillenberg's got a car in here. I've got Jack Hodenshield upstairs. Yeah. And just Brad Doty's in it. So it's actually a pretty good set that I would love to be able to get more out of, but yeah.
That's something we just keep an eye out for at the Gypsies. And they'll show up.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll call you over for you to buy it, and then yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's just what we do. But
I think we should probably wrap things up, not because I really need to use the room at the moment, but but we got close to an hour. Yeah, so what we're looking at Vegas this weekend. I'm guessing the trucks are not running.
No, all 3 are going.
Oh, really? Because I figured there's going to be some race weekends where the trucks aren't running if they've already started their chase. Yeah. All
3 series are going this weekend, from what I remember.
All right. So give me a pick from each of the 3, assuming that all 3 are running. This is how well we prep for the show, folks.
Yeah, I'm thinking Zane. I'm going to go with Zane Smith for the truck series.
I was thinking that too. Intermediate track.
There's him. Sheldon Creed's not bad there as well.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be one of the top guys that are in the playoffs to get it, and I think Smith is going to get the first one. Xfinity, I'm going to go. I think Briscoe's going to continue on his streak and really kind of take that over.
Yeah.
And I think he's run well enough and he's pissed off enough that 18 is going to get the win at home this weekend.
Nice. Okay.
Just my feeling.
Yep. I was thinking, I'm very close on those picks as well. Zane Smith, keep an eye open for him. Nobody else is really jumping out at me. Like say Sheldon Creed as well. Xfinity, if the 22 doesn't stink it up, because they got a decent program, but I'm thinking if it ain't the 22, I would say I'm not thinking Chase. Possibly Allgaier might, because he's on a hot streak. So I'll go with Allgaier. As far as Cup goes, I think we're due for a rebound by Denny Hamlin.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Kyle win it, but Kyle, by Kyle's standards, he's snake bit at his home track. Similar, a lot of guys are that way. It's really hard to win at your home track for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's going to be some good racing. I do like, since they've reconfigured that track with the high banking, I do enjoy that. Although I would have wished they left one end alone, because I do like those 2 different, end tracks, because you can't set up for one. It's one or the other. It's a compromise. And when you got to compromise, that makes for some of the best racing. You can catch him in 1 and 2, but he's lost in 3 and 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
Yeah, so that'll be good. Definitely all three series will be officially in the chase or playoffs or whatever they call it now.
Yeah.
It's bad enough we harken back to Saturday night short track racing because we do get two qualifiers and a feature built right in the race. I still say the one tweak I would do if we're going to leave this stage racing is just keep going green flag after the stage and just announce, okay, these were the top 10 on lap 55. You just keep going so we don't have these manufactured cautions.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only tweak I do. They used to do it.
A couple weeks where that's been the only caution of the race.
Yeah.
It's been the stage breaks.
Exactly. Get rid of it. It used to be you lead at the halfway mark of a race. Gatorade gave you a bunch of money in the 80s. Guess what? They didn't throw a caution to give the guy the money. They just kept racing and said, Buddy Baker won it. All right, cool. Carry on. And I think that's what, we got the graphics. Here's your top 10 finishers from that previous lap. There you go. Moving on.
Yeah.
But maybe not this year, obviously, because you have no practice. It's good in that respect, even though they still do run a competition caution, which is always too early. 30 laps in. That might work on a big track, but let's get 100 miles on those tires. At least half of fuel run. Mm-hmm. That gives you, and then if you got half wear, good. If you got no wear, you're hooped.
Exactly. Yeah. It's almost like a half. No, it's not even a half stage break anymore. It's almost like you run a third of the stage, and then it's the first stage, and you got the caution right away. But
yeah. Or if you have a caution at lap 20, just say, okay, that's the competition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or maybe even do what ARCA does too. Like they do those stage breaks, which I detest, but it's not a hard number. Well, they're looking in and around lap 75. Perfect. Then you're running hard lap 70 through 80 because you don't know when it's going to end.
Yeah.
Some ideas, NASCAR. Just saying.
Yeah.
Other than that, not a whole lot going on. We're already done racing in Canada for the year, for the most part. A few short tracks still going probably till the end of the month, but most of them don't go much past the end of September. Other than was the Autumn Colors Classic, where I've seen my breath in the stands once the sun goes down, which is a great event up in Peterborough, Ontario. They used to run 8-10 different series over the course of 2 nights. Home track rules. So dirt track cars up on running asphalt, which is always fun because the asphalt guys would just be livid because as well as you clean that car until you get out there and start driving it under speed, that's when all the clay comes rattling out of the frame rails and shit all over the track.
And that is at Kawartha, which is Canada's Dover Downs.
No, it's at Peterborough.
Oh, no. Okay.
Which is kind of Canada's. It's not really Bristol because it's not quite high bank, but third mile. Third mile.
Well, I'm thinking Kawartha up by you there, which is the track the track is inside of the horse track at Kawartha, is it not?
Yes.
Unlike
the advertise at half mile, but it's such a wide track it could be a 5/8.
Yeah.
It's a wide track.
Where the horse track is inside the speedway.
Yeah. Which I still remember taking a buddy up to Kawartha for the first time and he saw the horse track. He goes, so how many laps do the horses run? I was like, really, dude? Really? And he's a farmer. He should know about horses.
Mm-hmm.
But, good stuff. Well, I think, we'll wrap things up here. Anything else to add?
No, I just thought of the other topic I want to talk about, but that's going to be another day.
There we go. Fair enough.
Next week for the topic I didn't think about on time.
There we go. So until next time, he's Doug. I'm Ben. Thanks for watching NasCanucks. Keep it high, wide, and handsome, as Harry Gant would say.